You met her yesterday. She's still working hard, playing fair, and staying honest. Part 2 of Liz Gilland coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning with the Waccamaw Community Foundation on Business 17 in Murrells Inlet. We're on part 2 with the Honorable Liz Gilland, Chairman of Horry County Council. Good morning, Liz.
How are you?
A happy Wednesday morning to you. I know
thanks.
you'd normally, I think you shared with us, be heading somewhere else later this morning down to Georgetown.
Usually on Wednesdays I go to Georgetown for a Bible study at First Baptist Church.
Right,
Mary Ann
right.
Bishop teaches, and it's incredible. I go as often as I can.
Now, do you hook up with your sister when you're down there?
I do. We try to sit together. It's the first opportunity we've ever had in our lives to enjoy a Bible study at the same time together. And last year, when I was a little more regular at the Bible study, we sat together every time, and it was just a joy.
Wow.
Just a fun thing.
That is good to see your sister county every once in a while. And, of course, knowing that I think you shared with us yesterday morning that you had spent much of your summers or much of your youth, 5 months of the year, at least in Garden City, which borders...
Actually, it was in Myrtle Beach. We had a house in Myrtle Beach at the time.
Oh, at that time. That's right.
Yeah.
I think you shared yesterday you still have a home in Garden City now, though, right? Yeah,
right.
yeah. But you were spending time in Myrtle Beach then. So on this side of the waterway, obviously, a lot of your youth.
I feel like I grew up on both sides, so I had the best of both worlds, I think.
Absolutely. Later this morning, I think you said you're heading back to Conway, though.
We've got a special announcement today. There's a press conference at Nye's Drugstore, which when I was in high school, although those many years ago, was the happening place in Conway.
Really? Yeah.
Every Sunday, all the kids circle the drugstore, drive the route around town, and so we're making the announcement there. We've gotten, the National Association of Counties has introduced me, and I introduced the county to a prescription drug discount card.
Right.
So if you don't have insurance, you can get one of these cards for free, and you'll have a list of drugstores in the county or in Georgetown County if they've signed up for the program. And when you buy your prescription drugs, most of the ordinary ones, you'll get a discount.
And
that's huge.
That is tremendous. Absolutely.
And
so
Nye's
viewers
is one of the drugstores.
could come out later this morning at 10. That'll be a
Yes.
public announcement.
And as a matter of fact, I have a box of those cards in the trunk of my car. Because nowadays, whenever I'm around somewhere, I'll say, do you have insurance? If you don't have a card, it'll knock money off your prescriptions, you and anyone in your family.
That is tremendous, Liz.
It's huge, and I'm so thrilled with it.
And you said you picked this up at a conference.
At a national convention. Every year I try to go to the Midsummer NACO convention. That's the National Association of Counties. Because I get to mingle with folks from the 3,000 other counties in the United States and pick up great ideas. And this is one that I brought home and had our human resources folks look into it, and they thought it was a good deal. And we convinced some of the local drugstores to sign on to the program, and now we're getting ready to kick it off today.
That is tremendous. Okay, 10 a.m. at Nye's Pharmacy in Conway, and that's pretty easy to find.
Oh, yes, it's on 501, or Church Street, as we call it when it gets to Conway.
Very easy to find then, yes. Of course, you know, so many things going on, and obviously Horry County Council, your service there. We think back, was there anything that opened that door for you to actually run for county council? Was there something, I know yesterday morning you talked a little bit about having been on the radio, so people knew you in town or knew you throughout the county.
They did, and one morning on the radio show in April of '92, I was looking at the paper while I was playing the music to see if there was anything I could poke fun at, say, you know, give for information, just to chatter about. And I saw on the front page an article that talked about adult entertainment and how people from around the country were beginning to phone call Horry County to find out what the restrictions were, because the word was out there were hardly any restrictions, and we had golfers by the millions and other tourists coming here every year, and we were ripe for them to move in, and we were looking like there was going to be a sudden proliferation. And so I said something on the radio, and I just said what I felt, that if we don't want to be overtaken and ruin our family resort community, which is what is our financial base for the county, that we needed to stand up and take a stand, that we needed to get out and tell we didn't want the variance committee board giving variances to have these places where they shouldn't be. And,
right.
And the line formed behind me, and from April of '92 until December, I fought the good fight, and I spoke out. I was on the radio and television. I spoke to all sorts of church groups and civic groups and community groups about why this was important. I wrote the new ordinance. At the time, they allowed citizens to put ordinance forth. After I did that and it passed, finally in December, they changed the law. So then I had to run for council in order to help make a difference. But people during that time, when I became such a reluctantly public person, began to ask me to run for the state. Actually, they were asked me to run for the House. And there was no incumbent that year. And I prayed about it and asked a few people to pray with me about it. And I got a two-part answer that was as clear. It was just one of those knowings that that's the answer. And the answer was, keep your eye on the political arena, but not this time. And so I waited for 2 years. And I watched and I read and I listened and I went to council meetings, and I thought, I'm supposed to do this, not Columbia. I'm more concerned with what's local. Of course, after I won my first election, I realized in just a few months how much of what we do here is, quite honestly, as I would say it, hindered by the guys making the rules in Columbia about what a county can and cannot do. And I remember saying to Martha Hunn, who at the time was the public information officer for the county, I guess I'll have to run for a seat in Columbia next. But that was 14 years ago.
Right.
But that's what, people asked. I prayed, and then I was probably the most naive politician, in quotes, to ever run, or person to ever run for political office. I thought, honestly, that if you did your homework, you debated, put forth the ideas, you weighed the issues and just did what you thought was the best, that you would just be popular because you were doing your best for the county and to make it better. And oh my goodness, I found out early on, you're just not going to be popular with everybody if you're in the political arena. But again, I do my best. I try to look at the big picture, county as a whole, and do what will serve the common good as much as it can.
So each 4 years before deciding to run again, obviously you start the praying again and think in the same way that you possibly even have contemplated. I don't know if you've thought again about what those original prayers 14 years ago would it be Horry? Would it possibly be Columbia, where there are prayers that would impact both of them?
You know, Greg, I approach each election with the idea of, am I supposed to do this? If I don't get a no, then I'm going to go ahead and file. And then what will be, will be. And I'm probably I may be one of the most calm and cool people on election night because this job is not who I am. And I don't own it. And if there is something else I'm supposed to do, I won't run re-election. And I'll go do something else. And I'll be just as happy and have more time, I would think, to have a personal life. But I do my best, and I've been hearing rumors for 2 terms now that I was going to run for a position in Columbia. And this may be the time that it's true.
How exciting, Liz. Now,
if I'm ever going to, I think it would be this
your home
time.
Is in Conway, and so...
I just bought my first house ever in my
Congratulations.
whole wide life.
Yeah.
In the historic part of Conway. It's a 90-year-old home.
Is that right?
But the people that lived there before me renovated it, fixed it up. It's still quaint. One of the kitchen has 5 doors. 2 outside doors, and 3 inside doors. It's just wonderful. It's rambling and small, but large.
With the county council chairman's salary, it'd have to be kind of small. That's right. Yeah. With
well,
what
Conway
you shared
National
yesterday.
Bank actually owns it, and I'm hoping
Conway National Bank. Yes.
But it's I'll probably spend more time in my golf cart back and forth to the office building than in my car now.
I love it.
So that's kind of fun.
Being there in Conway and knowing that area well, and obviously whether it's the House or the Senate, whatever you determine to do, or remaining and dedicated as you are, either way, you'd be dedicated to the people of Horry County.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I'm likely not going anywhere. I bought my house. I felt like I walked in the door, and it felt like home. And I've never had that experience in my life. So I'll be here
exciting.
a while.
You shared with us
as best
yesterday,
I can tell.
Obviously, that it was your mother that brought you back to the county. It's still your mother who you're intimately involved with on a daily basis, obviously. I think you shared every night, even last night, with her and caring for her to help her get to sleep.
Unless I've got something I have to go to.
Right.
And every now and then something I choose to go to.
Right.
I try to get by every night for a couple hours.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
But as far as the county goes, we've got a strong council, strong personalities, good guys, and one good gal.
Ooh, listen up.
Try to do our best for the
There's
county.
only one woman on council,
One
that's
woman.
yourself. There's only one chairman, that's yourself. How many men are on council? I mean, how many?
11.
There are
11 districts in the county.
Okay.
They each run district-wide.
Right.
I'm the only one that runs county-wide.
What does the chairman do exactly? I mean, how does the different, other than you're running county-wide and they're each running district-wise, what is your typical council day like? And that is council, of course, you have a council every day for you, but...
And honestly, there are no typical days.
Right.
It just depends on what's going on. I will have meetings with people. I have committee meetings, and I try to make as many committees as I can. I finally put myself officially on a committee, so I don't miss that one unless I'm out of town on another council thing.
Right.
But I approve the agenda. I communicate a lot with the administrator, the attorney, the division directors.
Right.
I try to communicate with the public. I bring ideas to council. I try to help with economic development. I think that is an issue that I've tried to focus on, because as long as I was on council, before I was chairman, I always wondered why the chairman didn't take a more upfront role in economic development, because in most other countries particularly, the position is all important. So we can take a group over to Germany or the eastern
Asia,
part of the
right.
world, to Asia, and if you have a title, you suddenly are important and people listen. And it doesn't matter if I'm a woman,
Right.
but it's just the title. So I knew it would make a difference. So I took it upon myself to be much more involved in economic development issues, and I've taken a number of trips just this past year.
That's right, absolutely. I think when I saw you in late October, you'd just gotten back from one and were maybe
Oh, my
leaving
goodness.
soon thereafter on another.
I think I almost killed myself this fall. I have always loved to travel, which is good, because I've done a lot this past year on behalf of the county. I went with the chamber to a trade conference in England in March, I think it was.
The Myrtle Beach Area Chamber, right.
Myrtle Beach Area Chamber. I went to Germany with economic development, with Myrtle Beach Regional Economic Development
Good.
in
With them bread, right.
May.
Right.
I think it was May. September I was in Germany again.
Wow.
October I was in Japan. I came home for less than 10 days and turned around and went back to China. And the only
Liz.
reason I came home was because council could have done without me, but my mom, she couldn't be without me that long coming in, and I needed to do that for her. But I think at one point I crossed 46 time zones in less than 30 days.
Golly,
And it just
Liz.
it took a toll on me, more than when I was a lot younger, I tell you. But it mattered.
And does it? Share with us how
really
that matters.
does.
I mean, how is it right?
Economic development
Right.
is difficult because it's not a short process. It is rarely a short process. It takes time. And in the Asian part of the world, you have to build relationship. But that's true almost everywhere. But it just takes time, and nothing happens quickly. I can tell you that between now and June, I'm hoping we'll have a couple of announcements. One in particular from Germany.
Great.
One from the United States, that all I've gotten to do is meet, well, maybe two. Meet with the people, encourage the people. Fortunately, this one group came to council. The one meeting I had the night after I got back from Japan and was
Right.
leaving for China, and I was so jet lagged, but for whatever reason, even I recognized that I was on that night. And the guy came up to me after the meeting and he said, I've been to a lot of council meetings, city and county, and this was the best run meeting I've ever seen. And I went, thank you, Lord. I needed to be, because if that has a
Right.
tiny bit of difference in their decision,
on their decision, absolutely.
then I will have done my job. But that was a great night, because I felt like I was on that night with parliamentary procedure and running the council and handling the audience, and it was a good night.
I love it,
And it was a
Liz.
perfect timed good night.